Well, here's another catch in another mink box. It is New Year's Eve. It is brown and furry, but it is not a mink. It is a brown river rat. There he is. Caught him perfectly in that 110. As you can see, he was coming in trying to drag out my piece of muskrat there, and he didn't make it past the trigger. Got him. But I'm glad to see my box worked. It just didn't work for the right animal. This is now the third brown rat I've caught in mink traps. I've had traps along the creek since November 20th, and I've caught everything in them but mink. Not seen a mink, not one. All right, let's get this out of here and we'll get it reset. I'm actually pulling some of my muskrat traps today, and I'm gonna set a few more mink traps because I don't have too much longer left. All right, it's New Year's Eve. I'm gonna set out some cables today. I'm also gonna put one more set in my mink creek back here. I'm freshening up my traps. I don't have too much longer left for water trapping. For mink and muskrat at least. That season is gonna close pretty quick. I'm gonna put a pocket set back in here along the creek. I left my mink box there. I just re-oiled it, putting some fresh fish oil and crawfish oil on it. My tube set is there with the number 1. I left that there. So I'm gonna throw a pocket set in here. I see fresh coon tracks back here. This is actually the first season I can remember in a long time where I haven't had steady ice by now. It's warm today, it's probably 50 degrees. I've had no sustained ice on the pond. It'd freeze over, then it'd melt. Freeze over, then it'd melt. It'd ice over at night, and then during the day when the sun hit, it would melt. So no sustained ice. Weather's been very mild, but unfortunately it's been raining, which is not helping me. Is that the ground is it's mud. It's just total mud. As you can see from some of my earlier videos, the rain has not helped at all. You just can't get those nice, good cold temperatures. Now I've seen pretty fresh coon tracks back here along this trail, and ordinarily by now the coons have been all denned up. They would have been sleeping. They come out when the weather warmed up for a little bit, but they seem to be still moving. So I reactivated the DP I had down here along the creek, and I'm going to put a pocket set in there then, just in case there's multiple ones traveling. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, the weather's just absolutely awful, just awful. But what can you do? Stupid global warming. Okay, good potential here for my camera to end up in the creek. But I'm gonna put in a pocket set. Well, my interpretation of a pocket set. Everybody's opinion is a little different when it comes to trapping as to how they do it, but I think I have it in one spot. Okay, I'm gonna use my handy dandy trowel. Started with my boot. Made a little hole with my boot. Now this creek bed is pretty much all rock. I'll lower it down a little bit. Yeah, this creek bed is pretty much all rock. So anywhere I go, it's stone. So the bank is pretty soft yet. So I want it just above the water line. Start a hole. What I'm going to do is fold out some of the mud, because we're going to use it to bed the trap on it then. It's pretty soft. Twist the trowel in, pull it out. I want the trap right in the front of the hole. I want it just about the same width as the trap. That's a pretty good bed for the trap. You want a steady spot for your trap bed, of course. That's what's nice about water trapping. You don't have a bed for the trap, you can always make one. Actually, I'm going to take a little bit of dirt from over here. I don't want to take any more out of my pocket now, it's steep enough. Alright, that's good. I'm going to use a 1.5. It's a Duke 1.5. It's laminated. I laminated it myself because I couldn't, at the time I bought them, I couldn't get, I wanted to get 1.5 double jaws and I couldn't get them. It's a little rusty. This trap has already been in the water. Free it up a little bit. I want the pan tension pretty light for mink. Coon, it doesn't need to be that light, but you want light for mink. Now, this trap was waxed, but it's been in the water for quite a while. Set it up high. Now, I'm gonna get some wire. I'm gonna wire it off. Okay, got a few feet of wire. It was perfect. I'm gonna wire it to this big tree root here. I already tested it, it's pretty stout. That's not gonna come off. So what I'm gonna do is twist the wire to it. I'll double rope it. This wire is pretty malleable. It's not, you can twist it for a long time before it will break. Very, very pliable. And we're going to twist that down a lot. I'm going to find it out underneath the log. Perfect. That's perfect. Now, I'm gonna get a trap. Just want to check and make sure your drowner's going the right way. I'm actually using a Hags bracket right here. So now I have the wire fed this way. So this end of the wire is going to go out into the creek. That end of the wire is anchored. So what happens is that the coon can pull down, but he can't pull back up. See, every time I pull back up, if I slide it, so what's going to happen is this, he's going to go this way, but then when he tries to go that way, it's going to stop. He's going to stop. So he can only go one direction. It's going to keep him wet and he'll drown. I don't like catching coons on dry land sets and footholds. I caught quite a few of them this season. And I was using big predator traps. I was using Duke 550s and MB 550s. And I didn't lose one. And I was lucky that I didn't have one with any foot damage on it. A lot of times coons will chew their feet. With a coon, the smaller trap is actually better to hold them. I mean, this is a 1.5. It's a good universal trap. This will catch a mink, a muskrat, you know, a coon, anything, a fox. Doesn't make any difference. But I like to use as small a trap as possible for coon. That way they can't get in on it to chew their feet. And the other trap I have over there, it's a number 1. You can catch a hold of coon in a number 1 too. You have it set right. And now what we're going to do is see how that is for a trap head. I'm going to bring it up a little bit here. Like I said, you want a solid bed. Now, the pocket here is wet on the bottom, but as it goes up, it's dry. So the bait's not going to be in the water. Now, with creeks, you've always got to watch for water levels changing. Let's set that pretty light. Now, there's not much paying attention on that. I'm not targeting coon with this, I'm really targeting mink, but like I said before, you're always going to get coons messing around. That's pretty bedded well in the mud. Now this end of it, I'm going to get this rock here. I'm going to go around it once with the wire. Get it over that notch in the rock. That's tight. Now I'm going to strap it down. What I'll do is I'll actually cross wire this with other wire. I'm not just going to do this one loop. Use a sandbag for this. Use a lot of different things. I'm gonna get another piece of wire. Cross wire that. Okay, got my section of wire. Now, what I'm going to do is loop it around there. Loop the wire this way. Loop it back under. I'm basically making this rock into a weight. Pretty much all it is. Now I'm actually gonna get my water gloves on. My deep water gloves. As I see it perfect. Yeah, there's no way I'm getting a stake into the bottom of this pond, or in the bottom of the stream here, should I say. It is like, it's just rock. So even like a drowning pole setup probably wouldn't work for me. It's so hard for me to bed something in the base of this pond, or in the base of this stream. But what I do see here is a really big rock, if I can reach it. Oh yeah. That's a good one. And I'm going to put it on top of this. Slippery. Oh yeah. It's slippery and it's heavy. Now, what we'll do is we'll pull this wire back under here. I'm gonna bury my chain. Coons have a nasty habit of messing with chain. I'm gonna bury that in the dirt. Because if they feel it, they feel the chain, they'll pull the chain, they'll flip your trap over. All right, that's pretty much it. Now, fish oil. Up in the hole there, there's a trail here. I'm gonna put it up the trail. Oh, you can see the oil. Look at the oil slick. You can see it coming off of it already. Now we're gonna go completely off track, because for bait for this, I'm gonna use Young ambush predator bait. I need a long stick because I want to put it up into the hole. That's perfect. Okay. Oh yeah. Oh, that's a good looking bait. Yeah, coons and mink are predators also, so don't think you just have to use fish. They are predatory animals. Fish can be good white fish, like a carp or something like that. It's visual. You want them to be able to see the bait. That'll make them work the hole. So I'm gonna get a pretty decent glob of bait here. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put it up in the back of the hole where it's dry. Just like that. Perfect. Yeah, you can use predator bait for mink and coon, just the same. Now, we'll give it one more little shot of oil. I have a little bit of salmon oil here. I have my DP up here. There's a trail here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wet that trail here to make it look like something's been crawling up out of the water there. Oh, look at that loveliness. You can almost smell it. You can almost smell it. Right over the roof of it. And what that's going to do is going to drip down into the water. A little bit more on the trail. If you put it into the mud will hold it for a long time. Oh, that water's cold. Yeah, I only have a few more days left for mink. So I have a few more days left. So that's buried. Make sure my trap is bedded pretty good. It is. I have that's just where we want it. A little bit of water up on our trail here. Make it look like something was using it. It's also helpful to see coon prints in it. Like I said, the coons have been moving late because of the temperature. It's so warm, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculously warm. Goes back in my bag. Goes back in my bag. All right, let me get you up here and I'll give you a spin around. And there is our pocket set. You can't see the trap in the water, but if it clears off a little bit, because I was out there washing the mud down on it. I mean, see here with the anchor where I wired it to the rock, and then I put the bigger rock right on top of it, so it's really going to hold it. I mean, there's enough room here. There's enough room here that just with the trap chain on it, the coon could barely stay up on the bank. But if he moves with it at all, it's going to lock him out, and he'll come out into the water. Same with the mink. He'll come out and he'll drown. Mink will fight a trap just like a muskrat. You don't want a live mink. You want to drown that mink quick, because he'll fight, and he'll wring his foot off and he'll get out. Muskrat will do the same thing, and a coon will do the same thing. Coon are more notorious though for chewing, so you got to watch that. Now you can see it's starting. So it's starting to clear off now. There's a trap just over the hole. Nice soft muddy bank. What you want to do is you want to set pocket sets on steep banks where you have a rise behind it. That way something is not going to come from the top to come down and get it. They have to come into the water to get it. You see I slicked up the coon trail here. There's a trail, and my DP is right there, and then my mink box is right behind my trapping basket here. All right, that's that. Let's get out of here. Yeah, usually later on in my coon season, I won't use pocket sets. I won't use pocket sets. I don't use them that often because for me it's quicker really to get them in DPs. But I will use them when mink is open and when muskrat is open. But when they close, then I'll stop using them, because you always risk a chance of catching a mink. Now, usually by the end of mink season, by the end of muskrat season, a lot of my water's frozen. Not this year, it's not. It's all open. So you have to be careful of catching animals that are not in season. You don't want to do that, especially in a trap like that. If you catch a mink, and that's going to drown them. So it's not like I can release them. So for that reason, I won't use them later. I'll only use the DPs. But it's effective. A lot of guys that long line trap, when they're trapping roads and under bridges and stuff like that, they will use pocket sets everywhere they go. Pocket sets, pipe sets, pocket sets, blind sets for mink, and that's an art unto itself. That was very popular during the Depression. A lot of those guys, they wouldn't use bait because bait costs money, so they used blind sets on trails, and they used to catch mink like that. But I hope the video was helpful for you. At least it showed you, a couple of different things you can do to set a pocket set when you're just firing along. You can anchor them to the bank. You can use stakes and stuff like that, super stakes. But like I said, the problem with that creek is the whole bed of the creek is rock. So I have to use an anchor. it's real tough for me to drive a stake in. I could have just wired the trap to the tree limb, you know, and that would have probably held it. Although I want to, like I said, if you keep a coon wet, he'll drown. In any sort of weather, you can drown him in a few inches of water. They get cold and they get tired and he'll drown in the water. But yeah, coon will struggle. You want to avoid that. All right, hope that was helpful for you. I'll see you on the next one.